Welcome back to another deep dive analysis, and we're here today to talk about the B2 Super Battle Droid voices throughout Star Wars history and why they kept changing. First, let's cover the lore version, because that's the easy part. Basically, as the Clone Wars move on in Star Wars, all the droids get less and less robotic and also less and less scary. They all start out with very robotic voices and some level of intimidation factor, and then they progressively become more and more sentient, with their voices becoming less robotic and less threatening as their programming becomes more sophisticated. That's how we go from this...
Check it out, Corporal. We'll cover you. Roger, roger.
to this.
Jedi! Fire! Oh, wait! I knew that was a bad idea.
In the Star Wars lore. But of course, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes storytelling choices going into this as well, and that's the more interesting part. Now, our first version of the Super Battle Droid voice might actually surprise you. They were first introduced at the Battle of Geonosis in Attack of the Clones, of course, but they never actually speak in that movie. They do a lot of punching and shooting, but for all of Attack of the Clones, these B2 battle droids are just giant, silent killing machines. The purpose of this is pretty clear. After The Phantom Menace, George Lucas got a lot of criticism from people thinking that the regular B1 battle droids just weren't big enough of a threat to take seriously. They were too scrawny and their voices were too funny. So how do you fix that? By introducing a giant silent version, of course.
The Super Battle Droid first makes its appearance on Geonosis, and we see them in the great arena battle. Doug Chang told me that the Super Battle Droid was supposed to be the Battle Droid's big brother. And so we wanted to kind of make him look like just a big, bulky football player type, with his head kind of tucked down into his shoulders to be protected, and these massive shoulders and arms, and big guns on his arms. And just supposed to be a little more imposing than the skinny little Battle Droid.
Not one person on Earth has ever complained that the Super Battle Droids look too weak and scrawny. Just check out how ripped these guys are, pretty good for a robot. And who would complain about their voice? You can't. They don't have a voice. This was honestly a pretty smart move by George Lucas, some proof that he could respond to criticism, and a solid way to make the new droid army more intimidating to the Jedi for the final battle in the arena. There's even literally a scene of the new battle droid just shoving aside the old battle droid to really, really bluntly represent what was happening in this movie. But then we got a lot of video games, including Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2. You know, the good ones. The ones from 2004 and 2005. The best games. These amazing games needed some voice for the Super Battle Droids so that they could give out commands to other droids, because that was one of the features of the gameplay. So the creators went with the voice actor Chris Cox and a voice modulator to create this classic robotic sound for the droids.
Their leader is on the battlefield. Their forces are under escort of a leader. A leader is commanding their forces. They have been injected with Bacta serum. Enemy forces have received Bacta injections.
Now that was fitting, but what if a generic monotone robot voice just isn't what you need from your Super Battle Droids? Let's say, for example, you're trying to make a Clone Wars game with a lot of survival horror vibes. This robot voice is a little intimidating maybe, but it still sounds like something that could fit in with Alexa, Siri, or Google Translate.
The enemy has taken another command post. Mace Windu has entered the battlefield. I am a robot. A very scary B2 battle droid robot.
So the developers of Republic Commando took sound design into their own hands, pitched down a new Super Battle Droid voice provided by Chris Young, and created this horrifying thing to hear while you're trying to sneak around the enemy base.
Targets spotted, enemies located, enemy designation found, located targets, victims spotted, meat bags detected, targets encountered, enemy units pinpointed.
But as you might imagine, this level of intensity wasn't what George Lucas was looking for his movies. When it comes to Revenge of the Sith, it might be the darkest and the most serious Star Wars episode, but George Lucas does his best to balance that out with a lot of laughs. This is partially to show how the war has become normalized, but also partially to start off with a lot of lighter moments so that the dramatic tragedy hits a lot harder when everything goes down for real at the end. So, with that said, here's the voice of Super Battle Droids from Revenge of the Sith.
Those are Jedi fighters, all right.
Come in, R2.
What that?
R2, do you copy? R2, activate the elevator number
31174.
Get back to work. That nothing.
Night and day difference, isn't it? Did you remember it was like that? A lot of people forget. Let's play this and the Republic Commando version back to back, just for fun.
Those are Jedi fighters, all right. What that?
Target spotted. Enemies located.
Get back to work. That nothing. Hey, you! You stupid little astro droid.
Enemy designation found. Located targets. Victims spotted. Meat bags detected.
Yikes, such different takes, each with their own very different purpose. You can almost think of it as representing the clone view of the droids versus the Jedi view of the droids. Although honestly, if Anakin and Obi-Wan went up against those Republic Commando B2s, they might be a little more cautious. Although interestingly, this kind of very deep voice was reused later for the Clone Wars TV show for the Commando droids.
Approach with caution. Approach with caution. Blast the clones. Secure the area.
But for another take, let's watch that same clip from Revenge of the Sith again, with the voices pitched down to match the more intimidating version of their counterparts.
Those are Jedi fighters, all right.
Activate elevator 31174. Come in, R2.
What that?
R2, activate the elevator number
31174.
Get back to work. That nothing. Hey, you! You stupid little astro droid.
It really changes the mood, and I'm not sure which one is better. I can honestly see the pros and cons of both approaches for this movie. Let me know in the comments what you think of the scene. One theory I've heard that I find pretty funny is that maybe the normal B2 battle droids do have deep voices, but these particular ones in Revenge of the Sith ended up with some malfunction or some B1 components, and that's how they ended up on duty as backup for the hangar B1 battle droids. But back to the story of these voices. It seems like since Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars has actually settled into a pretty consistent version of Super Battle Droid voices, that being the one from the Clone Wars. In this show, they're slightly robotic and slightly pitched down, but not as scary or intimidating as those from Republic Commando. It seems to be a pretty fitting middle ground for them, and it's since been used in other projects as well, like the video game Jedi Survivor or the more recent Battlefront 2.
Secure the area. Secure the area. Destroy. Seize territory. Destroy. Seize territory. Siege breaker tactics online.
But there have been so many different B2 voices over the years that I'm sure everyone has their own personal favorites and reasons for liking them. Let me know yours in the comments, and then click one of these other videos to see more about Star Wars characters' voices changing, or to learn about a bunch of hidden secrets that you probably missed in the movies. Until next time, this is Deep Dive, signing off.